How's it going, boys? The Trickums here. Today I will be bringing you all a series of videos with the future changes to all of the weapons abilities and the perk associated with these abilities. The reason I'm doing this is because given that there's not enough people playing in the PTR, I doubt that the developers will have enough information to fix these things before it goes to live. The perks that need to be buffed, the perks that needs to be nerfed, and the perks that are not working at all. Without any further ado, let's start this. The third weapon that we're going to cover is the Void Gauntlet. The first ability that we're going to cover is Void Blade, and the perk associated with this ability is Voracious Blade. While below 50% health, successful Void Blade hits heal self for 50% of the damage done. Now, this thing is ridiculous. This thing will literally heal you from wherever HP you have, as long as you're below 50%, and it will bring it up so quick that it's insane. And I was honestly thinking, almost any class that doesn't have a lot of burst damage, it will probably not have a chance against a Void Blade user anytime that they drop them below 50% health, because the amount of healing that they can do themselves, it's stronger than the amount of damage the other target can do to them. For an instance, if it is like a mage with a flamethrower, the flamethrower will never be able to out damage a Void Blade healing itself when below 50% health. Look at the amount. It took about 2 seconds, less than 2 seconds, to go from 10% all the way up to 50%. The one thing I noticed about the Void Blade is that it's actually lasting way longer than it should. The first time that you use the Void Blade, the duration is 15 seconds, but if you attack or you do anything with it, the second time that you put it out, it will actually last 25 seconds, 10 seconds extra than it actually should. The ability is supposed to last only 15 seconds as per the tooltip and as per the game, but it's actually lasting way longer than that. As you guys will see here, the cooldown of this ability is 23 seconds, but the actual duration of the Void Blade in the PTR is bugged, and the duration of it goes from 15 seconds all the way up to 25. This is an obvious bug and it should be fixed. That duration of the Void Blade from 15 seconds to 25 seconds is actually super big. The next ability we're going to talk about is Essence Rupture, and the perk associated with this ability is Refreshing Rupture. When you hit a target with Essence Rupture recharges 48% faster. Now, as you guys saw there, I just used it outside of the dummy, and the cooldown of the ability is 18 seconds. I'm gonna hit a couple of basic attacks so I get it back, and now we're gonna use it on the dummy, and there you go. The cooldown went from 18 seconds to 8 seconds, basically almost taking 50% of the cooldown back. I'm gonna hit him a couple of times more so we get it back once again, and now we're gonna use it on the dummy. And as you guys can see, the cooldown is ridiculous, especially if you start swinging the Void Blade, getting those cooldowns back. You can have it on the enemy as long as you have mana for, and you can always use this ability on top of each other as long as you like I said, as long as you have it off cooldown. Although I wouldn't recommend this because at the end of the ability it does an explosion healing that it heals everybody around it, and it's actually pretty good. So you can use it the moment that it runs out. Also, another thing, you can combine Voracious Blade with the Rupture ability to heal yourself for an insane amount, as you guys will be able to see here. I got all of my health back to 50% in about 3 to 4 hits. Since I don't play much Blade, I actually wanted to see the extent of this ability and how else can it heal you. And the ability says that it will heal you for all of the damage that you do to the enemy, but that actually seems to not be the case. It only heals you once every second, so basically there's a little bit of gap in between of when it heals you. So if you hit the target twice back to back super fast, you won't be able to get the heal from it. It only heals you once basically every second. So if you're doing basic attacks, it will heal you for every basic attack, but if you do a basic attack, an ability, and then another basic attack, that ability will not heal you because it happened too quick. As you can see here, I had the Pylon Burst, and it only heals you from either the Pylon Burst or the basic attack. It does not heal you for both of them. So like I said, it has a little bit of cooldown there, and this is not good because let's say that you hit the enemy for 100 damage and then it heals you for that 100 damage, but then you follow it up with one ability that it might hit, I don't know, 3,000-4,000, alright? And you want to get healed for those 3,000 to 4,000, not for the 100 damage. And since it has that little cooldown in between, you know, whenever you can get healed, I think that that is something that it needs to be looked at, or at least reword the ability so it doesn't say that it heals you for all of the damage that you do and only heals you once every second for the damage that you do. Something around those words, because now the wording is wrong, it's inaccurate, and it's false. It does not heal you for all of the damage that you do, it only heals you for the damage that you do every second. The next ability we're going to talk about is going to be Orb of Decay, and the perk associated with this ability is Diminishing Orb. On hit, Orb of Decay reduces the duration of the target's non-consumable buff by 68%. Now this one is pretty huge because this is basically an Oblivion from range. As you saw there, I used Defiant Stance and the duration went from 10 seconds to 2 seconds. I'm gonna use it once again. And you guys saw it there, and it works with every buff that is not a consumable buff. Alright, as long as it has a duration, it will be reduced by that 70%, and you know, you basically will not even use that buff. And this works with empowerment, speeds, any buff that you can think of that is not a consumable, it will work on. Now, the one thing that I noticed is that the actual orb is the one that needs to hit you guys, alright? If the explosion of the orb hits you before the orb hits you, then the cooldown will not be reduced. This ability is going to be great in small scale PvP, in wars, all of the locations that you want to use this perk will work. I will say especially in OPRs and war, you know, you send the orb forward, it hits a bunch of people, and then you detonate it, because like I said before, if you detonate the orb before the orb hits the enemy, then the duration of their abilities will not be reduced. It's only reduced if the orb hits the enemy and not the explosion itself. The next ability we're going to talk about is everybody's favorite, Oblivion. And the perk associated with this ability is Nullifying Oblivion. On activation, Oblivion removes limited duration buff from enemies within its radius. Oblivion recharges 14% faster. As you saw there, Oblivion removed both the buffs that I had on me upon activation, just like the ability says. If you use any buff on top of the Oblivion after the Oblivion is on the ground, it will not remove the buff. Here I'm gonna use Defiant Stance. As you guys see, it's a full duration over there, and immediately got removed the moment that Oblivion was put down on the ground. Oblivion, as you guys know, it got nerfed this patch. It went from 20% down to 15% of damage increase, but it still does remove every single one of the buff on top of the enemy. I wouldn't recommend using Nullifying Oblivion on the weapon, because the only thing that you get on the weapon is that it recharges a little bit quicker. Here I'm gonna show you guys without the Nullifying Oblivion on the weapon. As you guys saw there, the cooldown was about 18 seconds. And now I'm going to show you guys with the Nullifying Oblivion on the weapon, and you guys saw there the cooldown went from 18 seconds down to 15. The next ability we're going to talk about is Petrifying Scream, and the perk associated with this ability is Petrifying Scream. On successful hit, Petrifying Scream inflicts disease, reducing the target healing by 39% for 8 seconds. Now, 8 seconds is a lot of time, so basically, if you scream at a clump on the point in a war, we pretty much are getting that whole clump kill, because of that 39% reduced healing, 40% reduced healing is actually pretty big. Here I'm going to use the potion. As you guys saw there, it healed me for 2820 of my health. This is with you know, no debuff on me, nothing, no buff. This is just the potion, no divine, nothing. Once again, I'm gonna use the potion. It's 2820 without the debuff from the Petrifying Scream. Now I'm going to show you guys how crucial this debuff is. I'm gonna get Scream now, and the potion healed me for 1724. I did the math, chat, and that is exactly minus 39% reduced healing. That is very, very big and extremely important for the wars, clumps, or any PvP in general. That anti-healing for 8 seconds, it's pretty big. The last ability we're going to talk about is Baleful Tethers, and the perk associated with this ability is Slowing Tethers. On successful hit, Baleful Tethers inflict slow, reducing the target movement speed by 40% for 3 seconds. Now, this one is one of the most underwhelming perks and abilities out there. So here I'm gonna show you guys Baleful Tether without the perk on the weapon. As you can see, there is a tether, and it doesn't slow me down or anything like that. All it does is, you know, what the tether do. Here I'm gonna show you now with the debuff and the perk, and as you see there, the 40% slow lasts for, you know, 4 seconds, 3 to 4 seconds. It's pretty good. The best thing that I found about this perk actually is that if you hit with the tether, you can go ahead and switch weapons and the enemy still will have the slow. You will no longer be connected with the tether, but the enemy still has a slow even if you switch weapon, giving you an opportunity to do some other combos with other weapons while the enemy is at 40% slow. And that's about it for the Void Gauntlet, boys. We cover all 6 of the abilities, and the most important of them all, I would say that it's probably the Voracious Blade with that 50% increased healing whenever you are on a 1v1 scenario, or even on any scale scenario. As long as you will be able to swing, you will probably never be able to die as long as you keep on connecting with the enemy. We also got the Oblivion that is still remove all of the buff on the enemies, but now the damage increase went from 20% down to 50%. And the Petrifying Scream, extremely powerful. That anti-healing for 8 seconds is probably one of the most important debuff in the entire game right now. I hope you guys like the content and I hope you guys enjoy this video. We're going to jump into the melee weapons after this, and I hope you guys like that too. If you guys have any questions about these weapons or builds or anything in general New World related, you guys can hop into the stream. I stream almost every single day from 2 in the afternoon to almost midnight EST. You guys could also leave any comment down below. I read them all and I try to answer every single one of them. Once again, I hope you guys enjoy the video, and until the next one, cheer boys.